Another pebble?
Yeah.
Now, this is the third straight morning in the row that you've got a pebble. Maybe you're getting too old for this sort of activity, Jerry.
Tell you the truth, I sometimes wonder if it's worth it at all.
Yeah, I ask myself that same question every morning. But if you're going to show, I'm going to show.
I'll tell you what. I'll welch if you will.
You're on.
I gotta quit giving parties.
I enjoyed Sheila's party.
Well, I did too, I guess.
What do you mean, you guess?
I don't know. They turned 16, suddenly they're not little girls anymore.
Sheila hasn't been a little girl for a long time, Jerry. You just haven't wanted to face that.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, she's doing fine at Whitman.
Yeah, I know.
You should be proud of her. The grades are good, the kids like her.
Pete?
Yeah.
Nothing. I just wanted to remind you about the meeting at my house tonight.
Oh, I won't forget. How's your pebble?
Okay, at least till tomorrow.
Good morning.
Good morning. I see I've been elected to the Charities Committee again.
Oh, yeah. Exciting, isn't it? I figured since you volunteered last year, I'd just save you the trouble. It's all right, isn't it?
Why not? They're already conditioned to me. When I walk in, they'll reach right in their pockets and just...
Pete, let me ask you something. Sheila Colby's father is a friend of yours, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Has he said anything to you about her going to private school?
Sheila, no.
I got a request for a transcript of her grades from Magdalene.
I see Jerry every morning. He never mentioned Magdalene.
Suppose this is one of our little runaways?
Oh, Jerry, no.
Well, you know, integrated schools still do make a lot of parents nervous.
Oh, Jerry's straight. Besides, his son Rick has been here at Whitman for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, just wondering. You know the man better than I do.
That's funny. Jerry never mentioned Magdalene. Oh, well, I'll ask him about it tonight. See you.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Mom.
Hey.
Oh, is that a new coat?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's lovely.
It should be. It cost me 2 weeks' pay.
Oh, it's beautiful. And so's the rest of the outfit.
Thank you.
I like that myself.
Come on in.
Hello, Elaine.
Hey, Al, how are
Hi,
you?
Paula.
How you doing?
Hello.
Good.
Hi.
Joe, how are you?
Well,
Hi.
who's drinking what, or should we get down to the business of the evening?
Well, I'd just as soon get started. I got some good news for you. The city council has okayed our request to lease the Blue Mountain area.
Well, that's terrific.
It's great.
Now we can take on twice as many kids.
Right.
What kind of arrangements do we have to make with them?
Good evening. Come in, Miss Colby.
How you doing, Miss Colby?
Okay.
Oh, hi, Richie. Janice, come on in.
Hi, Mr.
Hi there.
Sheila.
Fine.
Hello, Rich.
Thanks, Mom.
Where are you off to?
The library.
Oh, shouldn't you be at home correcting papers?
Hi, Mr. Dixon.
Hi.
Miss McIntyre.
Hi.
Well, see you.
See you later, Mr. Colby.
Okay,
Good
Richie.
night, Mr. Colby.
Good night.
Daddy.
Study hard, dear.
Right.
Take care.
Hi and see you. Teenage conversation.
Don't complain, Marge. That's 2 more words than a lot of parents get.
Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah, Pete was telling us about the city council's decision. Now, what's the state of our finances?
Terrible.
Oh, not again.
Come on.
But still better than ever.
It's true, at the beginning of the month, the cupboard was bare. And then we got a very small grant in the amount of $2,000 from the Spencer Foundation.
Good night, folks.
Terry Mancome.
Thanks for everything. See you in a few weeks.
Want another cup of coffee?
I certainly do.
Well, looks as if the camp's going to be a reality after all.
Yeah, we've made a lot of progress. Oh, Jerry, can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
Are you thinking about sending Sheila to a private school?
Huh?
Well, we had a request for records from Magdalene.
Oh, boy. They don't waste any time, do they? Well, we're sort of considering it. We spoke to them last week.
You must have put it in an application or they wouldn't have asked for her records.
Oh, we did. Marge felt we had to or they wouldn't waste the time talking to us. But, you know, we're really just considering it.
Why, Jerry? Sheila's doing great at Whitman.
Oh, I've got nothing against Whitman. I think it's a first-rate school, you know that. But Magdalene's got this great fine arts department, you know, music and dance, and Sheila's just crazy about that kind of thing.
So she wants to go.
Well, it's her idea. See, Marge feels, and I do too, that if that's what the girl's interested in, we ought to go along with it. Well, hey, you don't think I'm being a snob?
A snob?
Well, you know, a private school.
If that's what she wants and you can afford to give it to her, great.
I think so, too.
Music and dance, huh? The finer things of life.
What's so suspicious about that?
Nothing, except that Sheila's got 2 left feet.
Well, maybe it's the music she's interested in. You know, Magdalene does have a special music department. You think Jerry's lying?
If a lie's not telling the complete truth, yeah, I think he's lying.
Well, why does he let Rick go to Whitman?
I really don't know. Ask him.
And he's let Sheila go there until now.
I think Sheila sneaked up on him and started to become a woman. That's when Daddy's getting nervous, Pete.
You don't like Jerry, do you?
Not exactly. But that's not why I think something smells bad. You do like him, huh?
Yeah?
Maybe that's why you can't admit what you really know.
I think Jerry's good people, so I gotta be sure.
Well, you're not going to get the truth from Jerry.
He hasn't even admitted it to himself.
Good morning.
Well, hi, Mr. Dixon. How was the meeting?
Oh, just fine. I understand you're doing very good work on the Freshman Service Club.
Recording secretary. No big deal.
Big enough. Which way you going?
Miss Thompson's class.
Sheila, I understand that you're thinking about transferring to Magdalene.
Did Daddy tell you?
He mentioned it. Are you going to do it?
Oh, yes, I think so. I'll really miss everyone here, but Magdalene's a marvelous school. The girls aren't stuck up or anything, and the teachers are so friendly. Do you know any of them?
No, I don't. You're interested in music, right?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm very interested. I just haven't had time to do anything about it here. When Daddy suggested I transfer to Magdalene, I jumped at the chance. It's so sweet of him, offering to pay all that tuition just so I can study music. Don't you think so?
You really love your father, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, you better go on in. You'll be late for class.
Okay.
You visit 7 countries in 15 days. England, France, Holland, Belgium, Switzerland. Hey, that's only 2 days a country.
Well, they're small countries.
You think it's too fast?
You might be a little out of breath.
Yeah, but I'd have so many memories. If I only had the time to write them down. Oh, look, here's another one. Now, this one moves a little slower. Oh, but you have to buy your own lunches.
Say, isn't Sheila transferring?
Yeah, her old man's pushing the panic button.
What do you mean?
What do you think she means? You born yesterday?
Paris, London, and the Riviera. Look, they call it the Swinging Singles Tour. Why do they use distasteful names like that?
Say, where's she going, to Magdalene?
Yeah.
It's not even accurate. I mean, who swings in churches, cathedrals, and museums?
Sheila did say she digs the music department.
Oh, man, everybody knows we got one of the best music departments in the city, right here at Whitman.
What else can she say? It's not her fault. Her dad's pulling her around.
Well, I can't say I blame him. There are some people who really bring your standards down.
But don't point at me.
I don't think it's so funny. I think it's bad news.
Well, it's a toss-up. between the fine arts tour and the nightclub tour. Then on the other hand, there's always Switzerland by bike. I think that's a good one to take after the gourmet tour. Yeah? Fringe lands of the Himalayas. An unusual around-the-world adventure specifically designed for camera fans. Well, then there's exotic Mexico. Have you ever been to Mexico, Mr. Kaufman?
Oh, yeah, once when I was in college. I went on an archaeological dig. I thought that would be romantic.
Was it?
Wasn't even co-educational.
Then there's the glamorous Orient.
Glamorous Orient.
Yeah, 2 weeks in Japan, Hong Kong, and India. Hey, you've been to the Orient, haven't you, Pete? Pete?
Oh, huh?
You've been to the Orient, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, Korea.
You were in Japan, too.
2-week pass, but I'm not an expert.
And the sun slowly sets on the Peter Dixon travelogue.
Excuse me.
Alice. You sure have a touch with the ladies.
I don't feel like talking.
Sheila Colby.
Jerry Colby.
Well, Colby's not the first one to run for the suburbs. Even the black middle class is moving. Getting so everybody's a crabgrass farmer. Look, maybe it's not what you think.
Oh, yes, it is. Liz and the kids sensed it. Besides, his and Sheila's story don't jive.
What are you going to do? Some people are like that. You know that better than I do.
Yeah, I know. But I thought Jerry was straight.
Well, stranger things have happened. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe the man has a decent reason for leaving. Maybe you and Liz and the kids are wrong. Think that's possible?
Yes. Barely.
Well, then maybe you owe it to Jerry to make certain.
There's another good reason to make certain. I owe it to myself. Jerry, I think the reason that you're taking Sheila out of Whitman is because you're running away from something.
Well, I told you I think Whitman's a fine school. What would I be running away from?
That's what I'd like to know.
Come on, have a drink.
No, thanks.
Sit down, Pete. It's like I told you. Business is getting better, and so I can afford to send Sheila to Magdalen, which I couldn't do before. And then she's got this thing about the fine arts department.
And that's the only reason?
Well, sure. What else would it be? Yeah. When Sheila asked if she could transfer, I figured, what the heck, why not?
Jerry, Sheila said it was your idea.
When did she say that?
Yesterday.
You've been checking up on me, Pete.
Yes, I have.
I thought we were supposed to be friends.
That's why I've been doing it.
You know me, Pete. I've always been on the right side, haven't I?
That isn't the question, Jerry. The question is, why are you taking Sheila out of Whitman?
Look, Pete, a father's got to make certain decisions, you know. Sheila's, she's just a kid. When she gets older, she can... Well, it's not as simple as that. Pete, if you had a daughter, you'd understand.
And if you'd admit the truth about this, we could at least talk about it.
Well, I've got nothing to admit. I haven't done anything to be ashamed of. Well, where are you going? Pete, listen.
Go ahead, Jerry, tell me. Tell me that the reason you're taking Sheila out of Whitman is that you don't want her mixing with non-white boys.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dixon. I didn't know that you... Mr. Dixon, what's wrong?
Your father and I had a little disagreement.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
Is Mr. Dixon in his room?
Not yet.
Oh, I wanted to talk to him.
Listen, I've got to get your minutes for the service club.
Now?
Why not?
I don't know. I won't be leaving for a couple of weeks.
Well, there's no point in putting it off. Have you got any ideas for someone to replace you?
No. No, I haven't. I haven't even thought about it.
Well, will you try to come up with someone?
Okay, if you like. I guess everyone thinks I'm kind of deserting, huh?
Why would people think that?
Well, we've really been considering Magdalen for a long time. It's a good school.
Look, Sheila, you don't owe us any explanations. Look, see you later.
I better get going, too. Don't forget those minutes.
Okay, Janice. Mr. Dixon,
Oh, good morning, Sheila.
can I talk to you a minute?
Sure.
Well, I'm sorry I lied to you, that's all.
You didn't want to nail your father.
But I really hated lying about it. I don't want to go to Magdalen. Honestly, I hate the whole idea.
I think I understand.
I like it here. I never wanted to transfer. I'm just doing it to please my father. Mr. Dixon, what should I do?
I don't think I can advise you on that, Sheila. I'd be way out of line.
I don't know what to do. Daddy means well. He just doesn't understand. He's afraid of things.
I know.
My mother tries to talk to him, but it doesn't do any good. Would you talk to him, Mr. Dixon? I know you're angry at him, but he really respects you.
Sheila, I've spoken to your father. But he's so uptight and defensive that I just couldn't get through to him.
Well, guess it's all over then. I'm finished at Whitman.
Well, why should I talk to him? Because he respects me?
I guess he does in his way.
Well, I don't want that kind of respect.
Ow. Pete, your feelings don't come first here. You're a teacher, and one of your students needs your help.
There's nothing in the rule book that says that I have to step into family problems.
In this case, the book doesn't apply.
It is none of my business.
When did that ever stop you before?
What makes you so sure I can reach you?
I'm not sure.
I've known Jerry for 2 years, and it looks as though I haven't been able to reach him up to now.
Pete, until last night, you didn't even know where Jerry Colby was at.
Pete?
You busy?
No. Come on in.
I came to talk about Sheila.
Oh?
She says she doesn't want to transfer. She asked me if I'd talk with you.
Now, look, Pete, it's settled. There's nothing you can say. I didn't come to this decision easily.
No, I suppose not. No, thanks.
If she stayed at Whitman, I'll worry about her every day till she graduates.
You did come.
Honey, go upstairs.
No, Daddy.
Do as I tell you, please.
Jerry, please let her stay. Tell me, Jerry. What do you think will happen to Sheila if she stays at Whitman?
I don't feel she's safe there.
Safe from what?
Well, I don't want her to get mixed up with the wrong kind of people.
And who are the wrong kind of people, Jerry?
Is it the wrong kind of people? Or is it what you think are the wrong kind of boys?
A father's got to be concerned about these things.
Are the wrong kind of boys the mean ones? The dishonest ones? The nasty and selfish ones? Are they the ones you mean? The prejudiced ones? Because those are the kind of people you've brought me up to keep away from. Don't you trust me?
Of course I trust you, honey. But look, Sheila, it's more complicated than that.
I know what you're afraid of.
Oh, Pete, You've got to admit that there's a tougher bunch at Whitman than there is at Magdalen. You do admit that, don't you?
We have our problems. Why don't you be honest with yourself, Jerry? It's not violence you're afraid of.
Don't tell me what I'm afraid of. Sheila's my daughter. Her welfare is my responsibility, not yours.
Then think about her.
That's exactly what I am doing, and I don't need you to tell me.
Well, I do not intend to stand by and let you lay all your fears and hang-ups on Sheila without me telling you how I feel about it.
You have a right to feel whatever you want. Pete, this is a private family matter. I have to prepare Sheila for life the best way I can.
Well, the best way you could prepare Sheila for life is to let her stay at Whitman, where there are all different kinds of kids. Rich, poor, black, white, Oriental, Mexican, Indian, bright, dull, tough, tender, because those are the kind of people she's going to run into out in the world. Look, Jerry, we all have our prejudices, but we have no right to lay them on our children.
Fine. Swell, you made your little speech, and I hope it made you feel better.
Good night, Sheila.
No, wait a minute, Mr. Dixon. I'm not transferring, Daddy. I don't want to hurt you, but I'm staying at Whitman.
Sheila.
This is too important to me. There's nothing to be afraid of at Whitman. No more than any other place with a lot of people. And I like it there. I learn as much talking to all the different kinds of kids as I do from the classes and teachers. I love you, Daddy. And I'm grateful for things you've taught me. But if you are afraid of certain people, just because they're different, well, that's one thing I don't want to learn.
Hi, Sheila.
Hey, I've got a replacement for recording secretary.
Who?
Me. I'm staying.
Oh,
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. Listen, there's a meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, we gotta figure out a way to come up with some money for next semester.
Hey, what's in this sandwich?
Chicken. And keep your hands off.
Eat your lunch, Miss McIntyre.
what's that supposed to be?
That's Pam, you yo-yo.
Don't you know a portrait of an artist when you see one?
Oh, be serious. Are they really going to pay you to do that?
Yes.
I'm going to get me some of that art stuff.
You know, the Art Institute is the best art school in the country. You know that, don't you?
I know it, man. I can't believe this is happening to me.
How about that, Chase? Pam winning the scholarship.
I sure never thought they'd give it to her.
You never think anybody gives anything to anybody.
When I flashed how good she was, I sure never thought they'd let her go all the way.
When do you start?
Next September.
Hey, Pam, you still going to talk to us when you're rich and famous?
Oh, darling, I love you little people.
Well, this little people's going to class.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You really did quite a job, Mrs. Bowen.
I had a little help from Pam.
And I almost talked her into a science program.
Listen, I'm used to it. Who brings up this kid to be an artist?
She's really good, huh?
Oh, she's got it. And with the training she's going to get, there'll be no touching her.
Oh, here you are, Mr. Kaufman.
Oh, I am Dragan. Come on in. Join the party.
Well, Mr. Kaufman, on behalf...
Wait a minute. I think... Congratulations in order. I said, wait a minute. I thought I saw your name here.
Mr. Kaufman, I am here to protest a change in the syllabus which eliminates the name of Alfred Lord Tennyson.
Alfred Lord Tennyson. Right, here it is. I thought so. I knew you were one of her sponsors. Congratulations. Pam got the scholarship.
What scholarship? What are you talking about?
Pam Arnold to the Art Institute.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, you signed her application.
I beg your pardon. I did no such thing. I did not sign that.
Does look like your signature, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose there is a similarity.
Are you suggesting forgery?
Wait a minute. Hold it. Let's let that be the last time anyone uses that word.
How about good penmanship? Ken, do you remember signing that application? No. Well, I remember way back in January, Pam and I discussed the application. And she figured that since you were the head of the department, that your signature would be a good one to get. Well, she got it, but not from me.
Ken, are you absolutely certain that Pam did not ask you to be her sponsor?
Mr. Dragan already said she never asked him.
Not exactly. He said he didn't remember. I really don't understand what everyone's getting so upset about.
No big thing, no big thing. Just a little group dynamics, the spirited give and take of a free people. Now, look, Pete. Now, you say you conferred with Pam and you both decided whose signature she should get, right?
All right. You, Ken, myself, and Betty.
All right. Now, we all remember signing, but you say you might have, but you don't remember exactly.
I'm sorry. I believe I said quite clearly that I did not sign the document in question.
Oh, my, what are we going to do? We can't let a student get a scholarship on a borrowed signature. It'd be so unfair to all the others who competed. Well, this is terrible.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to hear what Pam has to say about all this?
Certainly would.
Yeah, I've had her waiting. I'll bring her in. Pam, would you come in, please? Why don't you sit down over here? Pam, there's been some question about your application for your scholarship, so we thought we'd bring you in and help get it straightened out, okay?
Okay.
Pam, it's been a very exciting day for you, hasn't it?
Oh, it sure has.
And for us, too. Pam, did you ask Mr. Dragan to sign your application?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
Nothing. He just signed it.
Did you talk about it? Do you remember anything special?
No, nothing special.
Did he ask you any questions about your plans or anything?
No, he just signed it.
Did that seem strange?
Not really. Everybody doesn't do the same thing.
Yeah. Pam, is it possible that in your haste, maybe if Mr. Dragan wasn't in his room and you knew he was going to do it anyhow, so you just maybe went ahead yourself?
What are you trying to say? Listen, I don't sign anybody's name but my own.
Of course.
Pam, how did Mr. Dragan's signature get on that application?
He put it there.
Yeah, she went down to the art room. Pretty great at winning that scholarship, ain't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
She's probably making $1 Ken Draken to stick a pin into.
Hi.
May we talk with you a minute?
They don't believe me, do they?
Well, you have to admit the whole thing does seem kind of strange.
So what's gonna happen?
We don't know yet. Nothing's been decided.
Well, am I gonna lose the scholarship?
It's possible.
But not if we can help it.
Well, it's not fair. I told him what happened.
Mr. Dragan said he's positive he didn't sign anything.
Then he's a lie. Why do they have to believe him just because he's a teacher? Does that mean he's so great and perfect?
Pam, you're not going to help anything this way.
Well, I'm sorry. I just don't like being the one who gets accused all the time, that's all.
Nobody's accusing you. But the problem between your version and Mr. Dragan's is that you have something to gain and he doesn't.
And he sure does. He doesn't like me.
Oh, come on, Pam.
No, it's true. I remember being afraid to ask him to sign the thing because I thought he'd say no. But you told me it would be good to have the head of the English department's signature. And when he signed it, I was surprised.
Even if you're not his favorite student, that does not explain why the man says that's not his signature.
Yeah, well, what if he planned the whole thing right from the start? I bet you anything he planned to sign that thing just so later on he could say he didn't. Don't you see, he knew how that would make me look.
Do you really think he dislikes you that much?
Well, why else would he want to ruin my whole life?
Think hard. Was there anybody else around when Mr. Dragan signed the application?
Yeah, there were a lot of people.
Who?
I don't know, some kids and...
Were there any teachers around?
Why does it always have to be teachers, Mr. Dixon? I mean, everybody knows the kids are just a bunch of liars.
Will you stop fighting us, Pam? We're trying to help you.
I'm sorry.
Was anybody else there?
Miss Johnson. That's right, Miss Johnson was in there.
Yes, I do. I remember it exactly. It was Friday after class, and I had to go see Mr. Dragan about a footnote that I didn't understand in this really sensational article he wrote on Alfred Lord Tennyson, the poet. And he was in this terrific snit about something. And I decided not to bother him. You know how he gets.
Alice, what about Pam?
Well, I'm absolutely certain that she was one of the kids around Mr. Dragan's desk. She had on this groovy sort of African print that had blue jutting out.
Well, what did she do? I mean, what was she there for?
She was waiting to see Mr. Dragan.
Oh, was she carrying anything?
Papers. She had these, these sort of papers in one hand, and a book under her arm, and this dynamite necklace with pearly blue stones that just went all...
Alice, do you remember whether or not Mr. Dragan signed the papers?
The papers? No. No, I don't remember. But she really looked sensational. Is something wrong?
But you're absolutely certain you don't remember seeing Mr. Dragan sign anything of Pam's?
No. Should I have?
That's enough. It's enough.
Come on, another half a lap.
No.
Well, I guess that's not bad for your first time out.
What are you trying to do to me?
I'm making you feel good.
I thought I did.
Don't be ridiculous. You felt terrible.
I can hardly get my breath.
Good. Listen, while I got you weak, I want to talk to you about something.
You gonna save Alfred Lord Tennyson?
Oh, no, we'll talk about him another time. I wanted to talk to you about this business of your signature on that girl's application. You know, I've been kind of upset about that.
Oh.
I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't afraid that what's on the line may be the future of an obviously talented girl. I mean, think about it in terms of the outcome. Suppose she loses this scholarship. A thing like that could have an adverse effect on her whole life.
Are you suggesting we shouldn't say anything to the Art Institute and just let them go ahead and give her the scholarship?
Well, that would be up to you, kid. But I'm sure you're not the kind of a man that would want to be responsible for ruining that girl's future.
would a man like you simply ignore her transgression?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of ignoring a transgression, Ken. I think it's a matter of being a little flexible.
You're saying that you believe that is actually my signature.
All I say is, I think it is possible. Now, you do admit you're human, Ken. You are fallible.
I beg your pardon. I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying I'm deliberately persisting in my account of the events rather than acknowledge the possibility of error.
Oh, come on, Ken.
I'm sorry. I've been a teacher 19 years. This is the first time anyone's questioned my integrity.
Ken, I did not say one word about your integrity. I would never do that.
Not directly. But that's really what the issue is about, isn't it? Will I or will I not admit that it's all my fault? That the girl is right. And that I'm either a fool or a liar. No, I won't. But what I will do is spare you any further agony about her future. You'll find my resignation on your desk in the morning.
Ken.
Hey, Pam, you really thought they were gonna give you something?
Well, it's the last time for me, I tell you that. And they can keep that mess about getting ahead, too.
Hey, you ready for this? Mr. Dragan quit.
Man, be serious. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, Mr. Dragan resigned.
But don't be a jerk. I was just in his class.
Well, you don't just walk out when you resign, you know. You wait till the end of the year.
Hey, wait, where'd you hear that?
I heard it. Has something to do with your scholarship and all that stuff.
Oh, I don't believe you.
All right, don't believe me, you know.
Well, what do you want to go do a thing like that for?
Maybe they found out he was lying.
How they gonna find out a thing like that? You trying to say they're gonna believe Pam over him?
Maybe I ought to go see something.
What are you gonna say?
I don't know, something. I mean, I don't want him to quit on account of something I said.
Shoot, what do you care? It's probably a trick to get you to own up to something.
Look, you're the one that's getting hurt, not him.
That's right, and they wouldn't believe you. You swore on a stack of Bible. If you gotta go, baby, you might as well take one of them with you.
Yeah, right. I don't care about him quitting. I don't see none of them crying over me.
Right on, sister. Right on.
1, Pam Arnold should be disciplined for forging the name of a teacher. 2, a full report should be sent immediately to the Art Institute with a recommendation that the scholarship be awarded to someone else. 3, the administration must apologize in writing to Mr. Dragan and urge him to withdraw his resignation.
Is that all?
That's all.
Wonder why he didn't suggest we hang Pam by her thumbs for a couple of hours.
We think an insult to a teacher is not something to laugh at.
Mr. Yarnell, I don't like insults to anybody, not even students.
Do you mean this girl? You mean we're insulting her?
Is that so hard to believe?
Oh, please.
You know, you don't even know what really happened.
Do you?
No. And that's exactly why I don't want any part of your headhunt.
You think we should just let Ken Dragan's career go right down the drain, is that it?
No. But I do think we ought to stop wasting time with all this nonsense and try to help the man understand.
Oh, come on now, Pete.
May we adjourn now? Thank you.
How do you expect us to maintain our authority when the administration doesn't back us up?
A lot of us think there could be a real showdown over this.
What kind of a showdown?
Well, unless you do what's in here, there'll be a whole bunch of incidents like this. A lot of kids are sneaks and liars. They'll be saying it's their word against ours.
Do you hear what you're saying? Do you really believe your authority and credibility with students comes from the principal's office? Is that what makes you teachers? An iron fist down the hallway to zap any student who steps out of line, huh?
Well, let's see you keep order in the classroom sometime.
I have been in charge of a classroom. And I know it's not easy to keep order, but maybe order isn't what it's all about. You make these kids sound like all they're waiting for is a sign of weakness so they can move in and take over. Do you realize that in a couple of years they'll be working, voting, serving on juries, dying maybe in some war? To hear you tell it, we're keepers. We're here to sit on cheats and liars until they're let loose on an unsuspecting nation.
Are you just finding that out?
You want an answer right now, don't you?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I guess I can give you an answer. Let me put it like this. If Ken Dragan is not here next year, this is going to be a much poorer place. We're all going to lose. We lose because Ken is a good teacher, and I don't know anything in the world that's harder to be than that, or more worth being. But unless there's more evidence that Pam Arnold forged that signature, I'm not going to do what you people want. I am not going to sacrifice that girl for Ken Dragan or anyone else. Teachers, after all, principals too, for that matter, are only a means to an end. Students is what we're all here for.
Are you busy?
No, I'm not busy.
You know what amazes me?
No.
All the stupidity in the world, and we can still think that there's something important about saving face.
You think I'm a fool?
No, I don't think that. I do think you're making a mistake, though.
You're really saying I should forgive the girl and forget the whole thing?
Ken, I don't think there's anything to forgive the girl for. Tell me something. How can you be so certain that you did not sign that application? I mean, we sign so many forms every day. Isn't it possible that, well, you may have signed it and thought it was something else?
You know, I used to think I was going to be a poet. The Tennyson of our time. There aren't many rewards to teaching, are there? There's a little satisfaction, a little respect, and certain abstract notions of truth and honor. They're all I've got. She's got her whole life ahead of her.
Ken, that's not the point. The point is that without any proof, you're asking that Pam's scholarship be taken away from her.
No, I'm not. All I'm asking is that I be left alone.
Mr. Kaufman standing up to practically a whole delegation of teachers. I think that's terrific. Don't you?
What about all those teachers saying I'm a liar? Now, how terrific is that? I wouldn't take that scholarship if they begged me.
Oh, don't say that. That's terrible.
Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly how I feel about it, that's all.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yes, I can do that. I can do anything I want to do. And I'm not going to go someplace they say I cheated to get there. That's out, not me.
Say, that's very nice.
I think it's right.
No, don't. Pam, don't. Oh. I'm sorry you didn't like that. Well,
Wait, is it true what they're saying about you quitting?
me? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I did tender my resignation.
How come?
Well, there are a number of reasons.
You didn't have to go do that on account of something I said. I'm nobody.
Who told you that?
Told me what?
That you're nobody. Pam, it just occurred to me that we're both having trouble accepting a very simple truth. That we're somebody. Does that make sense at all?
You too? You're a teacher.
Well, you're a woman and an artist.
You know, sure would be a lot easier to be somebody if people weren't always pushing you and telling you had to be somebody, you know?
Yeah, certainly would. Be much easier if people weren't so ready to choose up sides and make a war about a difference of opinion between two essentially decent people.
Oh, yeah, ain't it the truth? I tell you. Look, I know I'm nobody to be telling you. See, there I go again. But what I'm trying to say is, I wish you wouldn't quit.
You mean because you're not worth it?
See there? You're a good teacher.
Well, thank you, Pam.
Well, I'm not telling you nothing you don't know.
Anything. Anything, Pam. Watch the double negatives.
Anything, yes, sir.
I've got an idea. May not be too bad if you'll agree. Why don't you just bring me that application and I'll sign it?
Again?
Does it matter again or for the first time? Now, does that really matter? The point is, we can both agree that it's my signature and I put it there, see? We could get witnesses.
Oh, yeah, we'll have a big signing ceremony. We'll fill up the whole auditorium.
Well, I'll award the pen to Mr. Yarnell.
And next semester, I'll come back. I'll be the big la-di-da grad, and I'll come by and say hi.
Yeah. Is that agreed now when you agree to that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd be delighted to see you.
Okay.
Okay.
I got a worse one than that, though. Listen, one of my students came up to me and asked if he could be let out of last period because he wanted to go to his grandmother's funeral.
Oh, I don't get it.
Well, wait a minute. That's because I haven't finished yet.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway.
So what happened?
Anyway, so the next day he comes back again and he says, Mr. Dixon, can I get out of last period? He said the funeral had been called off because of rain.
Oh, no.
I told you. Didn't I tell you they were sneaky? Oh, you gotta watch them every minute.
Oh, you made his day, shucks.
Wake up, the redcoats are coming. Paul Revere.
Not merely one man riding one horse on a certain lonely night of long ago, but a symbol to which his countrymen can yet turn. Paul Revere had started on a ride which has never really ended.
In more ways than one. You know, there's a sense of destiny in the air this morning. I can still smell it.
Well, I don't know who Whitman High's Paul Revere is, but he couldn't have picked a better ideal. Paul Revere was the greatest hero of the American Revolution.
I can't agree with that, Tim. He was an important figure, but there were many others who were more outstanding.
Lafayette?
Crispus Attucks.
Well, you can't compare them with Paul Revere. I mean, he was something greater than himself. He was a legend, a symbol. Well, he galloped right into history, art, folklore, poetry.
That was the trouble. He was romanticized out of proportion.
Romanticized? Well, he risked his life to save a lot of others, didn't he?
Yeah, but lots of people did that.
At least he didn't throw garbage all over people.
Well, maybe this Paul Revere is trying to warn us about something, too.
Like what?
Well, I don't know, but if it hadn't have been for Paul Revere, a lot of innocent people would have died in their sleep.
I sure like to get my hands on that garbage man.
I wonder what he's trying to prove.
Well, I don't think he's trying to prove anything. Rather, the ultimate gesture of contempt for a decaying society.
I think he's trying to just lay garbage on us, baby.
Yeah, I got ketchup all over my poncho. What a mess.
Are you still on Paul Revere? You know, I think you're making a big deal out of nothing.
You ever try to get egg salad out of an afro?
No, Jason, I can't say as I have.
I still smell like last week's cafeteria menu.
Look, you're all being so squeamish about this whole thing. It's so silly. Everybody getting so uptight about a little garbage.
Did you smell that stuff?
It's just disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
What's the matter? Is the phantom struck again?
Every sack of fertilizer in the gardener's shack has been cut open, and it's all over the place.
The girls' gymnasium is ready for planting.
And there are notes all over warning about using chemicals in fertilizer.
And if that's not bad enough, every tire on my car is flat with a note stuck to the windshield saying single-occupant driving leads to greater air pollution.
What is this guy, an anti-pollution Zorro or something? It would be easier if he would just steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Something's got to be done, Mr. Kaufman. The next thing we know, he'll be burning down buildings.
Oh, come on, Miss Johnson, burning down buildings. I don't think it's as serious as all that. I think it's just some pranks to gain attention. I mean, after all, it is a worthy cause. We have to be a little tolerant.
Who, me?
You said he couldn't have picked a better ideal.
No chance, Mr. Dixon.
Whoever makes up these little notes really digs Paul Revere. Sort of like a symbol, you know?
You're kidding. Why would I want to go around doing things like that?
Maybe because you believe what you're doing might help. And it is an unusual kind of protest.
You really think so?
Is it you, Tim?
If I told you it was me, would you turn me in?
Well, I'm not interested in blowing anybody's cover. I came here to talk about Paul Revere.
Will you promise not to give me away?
Let's not play games, okay, Tim?
Will you promise?
Okay.
Mr. Dixon, I've got to wake everybody up, don't you see? It's a matter of life and death.
I said this was an interesting kind of protest, but I'm not sure I agree with it, even though I understand how you feel.
No, you don't understand. Nobody really does. I grew up not far from here. It was beautiful and clean. The air was clear. You could breathe without coughing. You could see without your eyes burning. I used to fish in the stream and catch frogs and play with them, study them. Now, all the fish and the frogs are dead or dying. And you know why? Because all kinds of factories are pouring filth into the stream. Mr. Dixon, nothing can live there anymore.
There are a lot of people working to do something about pollution.
Sure, low-lead gas that nobody buys. Ballot propositions that can't get passed because people think it'll cost them more money.
Each new thing takes time and education. And, you know, propositions to help don't get passed because of special interest lobbies with a lot of power and money, which means that the people will just have to work harder to overcome them.
We haven't got the time. That's just it. We're being poisoned. We're dying. Mr. Dixon, you could mine the lead in our football field. We've got 100 times more of it in our bodies than we did 5 years ago, along with carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, sulfur dioxide, fly ash, asbestos particulates, and who knows what else.
Tim, you could do something about it without going outside of the law. Look, I'm on 3 committees working on pollution. There's a club here at the school. You know that. You could join.
Clubs, committees, talk, and no action. Everybody's talking, yet still nothing gets done. At least nothing that makes any significant change. We'll have to start dropping like flies before people wake up.
You think you're going to wake them up by throwing garbage on them?
Okay, so that seems a little crazy and melodramatic. But I figure maybe I can get some kids, people, to think about what's going on a little more. Make them more aware.
Shock therapy, huh?
Why not? All the talk and good intentions won't mean a thing. People have got to get really mad and do something to get rid of it before it gets rid of them.
Tim, I appreciate what you're saying and what you're trying to do. But there's got to be another way to go about making the point.
Everything else has been tried, Mr. Dixon. The redcoats are coming. And the only thing left is to wake up or die. Mr. Dixon. Remember, you promised. Mr. Kaufman?
What are you doing with that can?
Just taking it outside for the teacher.
Richie's not the type.
You shouldn't creep up on a man like that, you know that.
Why are you so nervous?
But you know, I'm getting a little paranoid lately. Everybody, looks suspicious to me.
Well, don't look at me.
But you know something? I don't think you did it. But I just got a sneaking suspicion that you know who did.
I have never been on a horse in my life. Anyway, we haven't heard from our mystery crusader in over a week. Maybe he's given it up.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Let us cherish that thought. Maybe Paul Revere's finally been laid to rest.
In the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
Tim, can I see you a minute? You know, even Longfellow made mistakes. He put Revere on the wrong side of the Charles River.
Well, I'm not making a mistake.
Have you read the morning paper?
Paul Revere strikes a plastic firm and well, they're finally getting the message.
And you could go to jail.
Well, they've got to catch me first. You know, you made me a promise.
Yeah, but this is going a little too far. It's one thing to play Paul Revere around the school, but fooling around with companies like Terrathon Plastics.
I'm not fooling around. I thought you understood, but you don't.
Oh, I said that there was another way to protest pollution.
Well, what better way can there be than right at the source? Whitman High is small potatoes, Mr. Dixon. Out there are the real polluters, the factories that are pouring filth into our water and air.
Tim, what you're doing may be a completely valid gesture, idealistically. but it's unlawful and dangerous.
Well, that's what they said about Paul Revere's ride.
Yeah, but he was only trying to wake people, not shock them into action. You gonna change the world overnight? What about the cost to yourself and your parents? What about them? Do they know what you're doing?
Well, they got nothing to do with this.
They might feel differently about that.
It makes no difference what they think. I know what I've got to do.
What about your future? You could get shot.
Mr. Dixon, there isn't any difference between what happened 200 years ago and what's happening today, except that things may be a lot worse. You see, I just can't stand around and do nothing while factories like Terathon are poisoning us all.
Tim, listen to me.
I'm tired of listening. You just talk like everybody else. You see, you don't really know what's happening. You just don't really care.
Tim? You don't really believe that, do you?
All right, then prove it to me. Why don't you just come with me and let me show you what it's really like, where it hits you right in the face so hard that you can't turn your back on it. Well, what do you say, Mr. Dixon? Will you come with me? Look at it. It's gum and inchstick. Smell it.
Yeah, I wish everybody could see this, including some of those people on my committee.
Stinking, filthy chemical waste just pouring into the stream, killing every living thing that used to thrive there. The factory's just over the hill. This pipe is like dozens of others, hundreds of others, just violating the laws of nature and threatening our very survival. Hey, I got a great idea. Let's plug it up.
Oh, Tim, knock it off.
Come on, Mr. Dixon, we can do it.
Tim, let's go.
Help me.
Tim, this is not the way.
Okay, you win. But I'll be back. You can count on that. You can't stop me. I'll be back.
It's the third such incident at the factory, Mr. Kaufman. As a representative of Terathon Plastics, I'm conducting an official investigation along with Sergeant Grover of the Metropolitan Police.
Well, what makes you think a Walt Whitman High student did it?
Oh, we don't know for sure. But we understand you've been having some problems along the same line. And it was a teenager who was seen just outside the factory premises where one of our drain pipes was plugged up.
A security man saw a man and a boy.
Oh, there was a man. In other words, he wasn't alone.
The guard didn't get a good look at them, but he was sure it was a man and a boy.
Any other description?
Just that the man was black and about 6 feet tall.
When we catch this Paul Revere, there are a lot of things we can charge him or them with, including criminal damage to property.
I'm sure we can expect your cooperation in this, Mr. Kaufman. If you have any idea as to the identity of these persons, we'd like to know. No matter what their personal feelings may be about pollution, they are breaking the law.
Oh, yes. I'd be very happy to cooperate. Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you. Pete, how tall are you?
5'11" and a half. Okay, so the kid wanted to show me the muck that Terathon Plastics was pouring into the streams.
Pete, that's incredible. You went out there with that kooky kid?
He's not a kook. He's a bright kid. He's just appalled at pollution.
He's appalled. I'm appalled. Everybody's appalled, but we don't go to stuffing up drain pipes and throwing fish all over a lobby.
Well, he felt it would have shock value. And right or wrong, he's doing what he thinks will bring about some change.
Is that what you think? Did you help stuff up the drain pipe?
Of course not. I stopped him. He must have gone back.
Pete? Who is it?
I promised I wouldn't tell.
Oh, Pete, you've got to be kidding. You heard what Grover said. That kid can get you both arrested.
I promised before I realized he was going to take on the world.
Pete, I sure wish you'd tell me who it is.
I'd like to make one more try.
One more try to do what?
To try to get Paul Revere on the right side of the Charles River.
Pete, if you've known who it is all along, you must have had plenty of chances. Now, if you haven't been able to do it up till now, the police know that he's here. You gotta be running out of time.
One last try, and if I can.
If you can't, then you tell me who it is.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dixon.
Hi, Donna. Is Tim around?
Oh, no, he's gone home.
You've been going with Tim for quite some time now, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
He's quite a young man. Bright, aware, dedicated.
Yes, he sure is.
Maybe too dedicated.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I think you do. You know those midnight rides of his?
He only wants to help Mr. Dixon.
I know. He's a very idealistic boy. I just hate to see him get hurt.
Why, do you think he will?
Well, running around those factories with armed guards and sentry dogs and electric fences, anything could happen.
Well, he promised me he wasn't going to do that anymore. He said he was going to this home.
Going where?
Nothing, I can't tell you.
Listen, Donna, I'm only trying to help. Now, I want to find Tim before he gets himself into some serious trouble. Now, what do you say?
Well, it's the owner of the plastic factory.
Calvin?
Yes, can I help you?
My name is Pete Dixon. I'm a teacher from Walt Whitman High.
Oh. Has this something to do with Paul Revere?
Yes, it does.
Well, then, won't you come in?
Can I offer you a drink, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, no.
Well, I'm going to have one. What's on your mind?
Mr. Calvin, Well, actually, I came here because I heard that Paul Revere intended to make his point closer to home.
Oh, he did? Well, I'm happy to report there were no premature Halloween pranks around here.
Oh, that's a relief.
Let's sit down.
Mr. Calvin, these aren't Halloween pranks. They're attempts, strange as they may seem, to make you and others aware of the damage being done to our environment.
I'm already aware of those things, but cures can't be made overnight. They're very costly.
I've told Paul Revere that.
You know who he is?
Yes. But I'm sworn to secrecy.
Well, you could be prosecuted for withholding information. Aren't you aware of that?
Yeah. But if Paul Revere can risk being drawn and quartered, I guess I can risk a little something, too.
I'd say you'd be risking quite a lot.
Mr. Calvin, I don't intend to sit here and give you a lecture on pollution. I think you've seen it, smelled it, and read about it. But I would like you to try and understand this kid and his feelings and why he's doing what he's doing.
It isn't easy, Mr. Dixon. When I was his age, all I cared about was football and panty raids.
True. But the kids today face dangers and threats to their existence that never touched you and me. They're just starting their lives, and they're trying to make their lives decent and long-lasting against indifference, stubborn resistance, repression. Can we really blame them for their impatience? You know, We consider Paul Revere a rebel, someone outside of the law who's threatening the status quo. But the fact is that he's really a hero. He's risking his life for something he believes in, protesting something that he believes is going to endanger all of us. And I just cannot accept treating him like a criminal.
Mr. Dixon, I never enter into a negotiation with someone as persuasive as you without my lawyer being present.
Well, thank you. But I promise I won't hold you to anything.
It's difficult for a man of my temperament to admit he's been guilty of neglect. But I promise you, and Paul Revere, that the conditions which he described will be cleared up as quickly as possible.
I think you'll be glad to hear that.
Somebody clogged it up.
You okay?
I don't know yet.
He had no way of knowing you had a change of heart.
There he goes.
Oh, I think we missed him.
Is it worth owning a car when there's no blue sky to drive under? Paul Revere. Would you happen to have the pump?
I sure do. And I'll lend it to you if you help me clean up the fish and my chimney.
It's a deal. And that, my children, ends the story of the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
And Mr. Calvin agreed not to throw the chemicals in the stream and everything?
That's right, and they're buying a new process for converting waste, all due to our mysterious crusader.
Mysterious to everybody except you.
Well, I was hoping you were willing to leave it that way under the circumstances.
Well, I guess I have to admit he did do some good.
Curious again!
Oh, no.
Look out!
No, wait a minute. Hold it. Don't litter my children, or you shall hear of the reappearance of Paul Revere.
May I,
Tell me where we're going.
I don't
mind if you don't mind spoiling my surprise.
Okay, since you put it that way.
What do you know about the FCC?
Oh, the Federal Communications Commission? Well, it controls everything that goes over the airways. You know, radio, television.
Wonderful. I knew you were just the man for the job.
But I thought we already had a first-rate janitor.
We do. What we need is someone to supervise this little addition to our extracurricular activities.
A radio station?
That's right. Well, it's only 10 watts FM. We're not exactly the answer to KABC. But if you knew how long I've been trying to get this thing for us.
How'd you do it?
Well, you see, this month, City College goes AM. So we just happened to inherit their license and their equipment, thanks to Morris Henry.
The school board Morris Henry?
Same one.
Don't tell me. He's coming up for re-election next month.
Don't get cute, Pete. Just run the station. Okay?
Well, I hate to shake your faith in my technological expertise, but I don't even know how to turn this thing on.
You'll learn. It's nothing. Look, here, bone up on the FCC regulations, and don't panic. I'm providing you with a first-rate qualified assistant.
Who?
Alice Johnson.
Hi, Ken. Hi.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Good. Okay, does anyone here know someone with a third-class radio license?
Hey, me. I got one last year.
Ooh, Bernie, I didn't know you were a ham.
Then you're the only one.
All right, man. Come on. You come here and work the thing.
I'm gonna be the disc jockey. Yes, sir, kiddies. This is your resident king of soul, bringing you the tunes to swoon, the beat that's neat, and the jazz that's always alive.
No. You're not getting it. The purpose of these study teams is to really dig into local government, visit sessions, ask questions. And I warn you, don't be intimidated by politicians and don't be scared off by their rhetoric.
So what you're saying is dig beneath the words.
Right. And as future voters, find out what's going on behind all of those bureaucratic doors. Well, it's almost time for the bell to ring, so since many of you are going to be at City Hall this afternoon, we'll break early.
Hey, listen. Don't forget to tell everybody we start broadcasting this afternoon. See?
Quiet, everybody. This is it.
You're listening to KWWH 92.5 FM, the voice of Radio Free Walt Whitman High.
Remember radio? This is Racing Jason telling you to keep cool in the motor pool. It's alive and well right here at Walt Whitman High, where music is king and rock is our theme.
Thank you. I'm starving to death.
Well, you better eat on the run. Guess who wants to see you in his office right now?
Pete, it is not that I disapprove of the format you've chosen.
I didn't choose anything. You put me in charge, and I let the students select their own programming.
Will you let me finish my cop-out? Nor is it that I personally may dislike some of that music. But I just feel that we have a responsibility to the public.
What about the students? How much interest do you think there'll be in that station if we start playing censor?
Peter, I wasn't censoring.
Good.
I mean, I was suggesting a little variety in the format, maybe some public service programs.
Maybe we'll integrate some of the work we're doing with local government.
That's fine. See, that's just perfect. I mean, Gad, nobody's ever called me a censor before. That's a terrible word.
Yes, isn't it?
Free milk, free lunch.
How about free pot? Yes, this idealistic new generation expects everything to be given to them. Let's not disappoint them.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Henry, don't you think we should discuss this lunch program seriously? But to make sure we're all in agreement on what's going on.
What about free matches and a do-it-yourself kit for burning down the school of your choice?
There's your public service programming, Mr. Dixon. Walt Whitman visits a school board.
That's it. We can edit the tapes into 5 5-minute programs.
Yeah.
What you say, Mr. Dixon?
Come on, Mr. Dixon.
Well, you all certainly seem to be enthused about it.
Right. Isn't it our responsibility to let the public know what's going on?
Well, I guess we're about to start some public service programming.
Watch out, Morris Henry. We're going to sock it to you.
You know, something tells me we're about to bite the hand that feeds us.
Take a look at maybe, but not bite.
Oh, really? Am I talking to the same Pete Dixon who once said, somebody's got to knock that phony out of office even if I got to run against him myself?
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
That was only 2 years ago when Morris Henry was reelected. And Pete, that same perverse little twinkle that was in your eye then is there now.
Mr. Kaufman's office, please. Pete Dixon.
Yes, Pete.
We have that public service program that you wanted. And it's going on the air in 15 minutes. I thought you'd like to hear it first.
I trust your judgment, Pete. I'm really busy right now.
Mr. Kaufman, your noon appointment is here.
Send him right in, please. Pete, I really gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Morris, nice of you to drop in.
Seymour, I've only got a minute, but I thought I'd drop by to see how you were doing with the little radio station I presented you with. By the way, I brought along Joe Duggan of the press. Come in, Joe. I thought a little publicity was in order. Never hurts to get your picture in the paper, as long as they spell your name right, huh?
Morris, you're incorrigible.
Go. Hit it, man. You're on.
Anytime you're ready, son. Thank you. That'll be all, Joe. Now, I have to run along, too, Seymour.
Morris, run along. You just got here. Aren't you even going to see the radio station?
Life is short. As the poet says, I have appointments to keep and miles to go before I sleep.
Morris, you've got a few minutes to hear the noon broadcast.
A few minutes I can spare if you hurry it up. Where's this loudspeaker here?
Right here, right here. Just...
Turn it on, turn it on. Good. That's good. Good and clear. It's a little loud, but it's clear, isn't it? Now, I've got to go. I've heard all this
will
before.
you just be patient a moment, please? I don't want you to hear just rock and roll. There's a public service program coming on.
Right,
I want you to hear it. I'm anxious to hear it
See,
myself.
I'll listen. Just see if you can hurry him along.
Hi. I have an appointment with Mr. Kaufman about the field trip. I'm afraid he's busy right now. He's in there with Mr. Henry listening to the radio.
Mr. Henry? You mean Morris Henry, the school board?
Right.
Oh, no!
And now the special public affairs program from KWWH-FM.
In the belief that you, the public, have a right to the facts, KWWH-FM brings you the first of a series of 5 programs on your school board in action. As a part of the civics class project, students from Walt Whitman attended 3 sessions of the school board. What you're about to hear are 3 excerpts from those sessions.
Morris Henry.
What about it?
He's in Mr. Kaufman's office listening to the program. Oh, but don't you think we should cut in and say we're having a technical difficulty or something?
We could, but we're not.
When pressed by board member Loomis for continued debate on the school lunch program, Chairman Morris Henry replied,
How about free matches and a do-it-yourself kit for burning down the school of your choice? I gave you a radio station, and you had the gall to use it against me. You had the gall to attack me politically with my own gift.
Mr. Henry, all our kids did was hold a mirror up to you. Now, if you don't like the image, it's not our fault.
You deliberately edited that program, and my words, to give a false impression and to turn the public against me, and you cannot deny that.
Would you like a rebuttal? We'll be happy to give you the time.
No, thank you. I do not wish to appear on your station. Now, gentlemen, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Game time is over. I'm going to return here at 3 o'clock, and at that time, I want every one of those tapes placed in my hands.
Don't give me any ultimatums, Morris.
All right, let's put it another way, Seymour. There are 8 other high schools in this district which are begging for radio facilities. The decision is yours.
Mr. Kaufman, there are a few calls.
Will you hold the calls for Pete's sake? Oh. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
Well, do we give him the tapes?
We don't. We lose the station. I hate to lose that station.
But the man's wrong. You know what kind of man he is.
I know. I wish I didn't also know that you've been an outspoken critic of his ever since the election.
You think that I'm using that station to attack him?
Had crossed my mind. Are you?
No. I'd like to, but I'm not. You see, I didn't put those words in that man's mouth.
Oh, yeah, Pete, but you know what you can do with tape editing. You know how you can make a man look. Your students edited that tape, and you okayed the final product. You know that if there's any doubt, if you were using those tapes to ruin him politically, you got no right to run them.
You may find this hard to understand, but I've decided to cancel the rest of the series.
I don't get it, Mr. Dixon. Here we done something, not just talk about it, but done something to show the public what's going on. And you're telling us that's wrong.
Not wrong, Jason. Just one-sided.
Translated, that means you're free until you disagree?
No. What it means is that I'm not sure we didn't edit out a little something called objectivity and edit in our own personal feelings about Mr. Henry. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me, too.
Look at it this way. There'll be other programs.
Why bother? They'll just shoot us down again. We know how it is, Mr. Dixon. The classroom's one thing, but the big bad world, that's something else.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. But, I'll be back here at 3 o'clock to pick up the tapes.
Well, you know what they say. Sometimes we all have to compromise our ideals a little. You know, live to fight another day and all that.
With the disappearance of the buffalo, the Indians' days were numbered. Though many dreamt of the buffalo's return, it was only a dream.
Thank you, Larry. Any questions? Jason?
This isn't about the buffalo. It's about something you said the other day when we were talking about who we can believe.
Go ahead.
Well, the way I interpret what you said is that we got these different loyalties to our parents, to our school, to our country, our job.
That's right.
But sometimes it don't jive. So what I'm trying to say is this. If our first loyalty is to us, and your first loyalty is to you, then you got to do what you got to do. And we got to do what we got to do, right?
That's right. Providing you're willing to pay the price. And there usually is one. Oh, Jason. Just what are you driving at?
I just want to make sure I got the whole message, man.
There you are, Dixon. I'm sure by now you realize what an unkind thing you were trying to do to me. I don't apologize. I just want you to remember one day that it was I who saved you from the worst pitfall in the teaching profession. Ivory tower politics.
I don't believe it.
What's that supposed to mean?
After everything that's happened, you're still trying to get my vote.
Thank you. Thank you. Boys and girls, I understand you have some tapes to turn over to me.
Tapes? What tapes?
The school board tapes Mr. Dixon told you to have here by 3.
I thought he told you, Helen.
Not me. Well, didn't he tell you, Pam?
Oh, that's right. I did have them, but I was late for my Hey, Larry, I gave those to you.
Oh, those tapes. Well, I put them right here. Somebody must have moved them.
Moved them? Copped them. I swear, Mr. Henry, you just can't trust nobody these days.
All right, son. I guess the play period is over, and unless those tapes are put in my hands inside of 1 minute, you'll never work in this district again.
Suppose I tell you that we're thinking of making copies of those tapes and handing them over to the biggest station in this town.
You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But if we did, you'd have a much rougher time muzzling them, wouldn't you?
This is your KWWH on the spot where it's hot newscaster, Ray St. Jason, bringing you this live debate. Switch it, baby.
Do you know what you're doing? You could get expelled for this.
Like the man said, if you're willing to pay the price.
But those remarks were made in jest. I mean, your program makes it sound like I don't want those kids to have decent food.
Do you? Do you really care about the kids who can't afford lunch?
Of course I care. I'm a responsible elected official. But I will not condone freeloaders and massive handouts and irresponsible behavior. That's all.
We gave you a chance to make a rebuttal on the air. You wouldn't take it.
Of course I wouldn't. I have the privilege of choosing the forums for my public appearances, and this Mickey Mouse high school radio station is not... My...
We paused in our debate to bring you this musical interlude.
You knew we were on the air.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Henry, I didn't.
As for you, Kaufman, I want to make this crystal clear. You are going to walk the plank.
Morris, if I get one more ultimatum from you, one more threat to get rid of me, I'm going to jump at the opportunity.
Don't have to jump.
If you will be quiet for a moment, you just might learn that for some reason I will never understand. The gods have chosen to smile on you again. You've come up smelling like a rose from this thing.
What does that mean?
That means that my switchboard has been jammed with calls all day from people that heard the noon broadcast and are dying to hear more.
You crucified me, sir.
I wish I had, Morris. Unfortunately, only half of those people thought that there was anything suspect in your behavior at all. The other half thought that we were the villains for treating you so badly. In fact, even right now, while you were on the air, there were people calling, impressed with your willingness to face your attackers head on.
You don't say. Well, where's the microphone? And now, my fellow citizens, in summation, I should like to add that I salute your continued interest in the workings of the school board. I also want to salute these dedicated young people here in this high school and in this radio station who have reminded all of us that the greatest heritage we have in this country, the greatest freedom, is the freedom of speech. And now, before I return to my lonely chambers to toil the long night through with the members of the board,
Before we begin with the team reports, I think we ought to clear the air a little bit after the fireworks.
Fireworks? It felt more like war to me, and we lost.
Just the battle, Jason, not the war.
How you figured that?
Well, I think we learned a little bit about politics, and I think Mr. Henry may have learned what to expect from future voters.
I bet you one thing. We did a number on his head he will not forget.
I think you're right, Pam. Oh, Kim, why don't you tell us what's been going on at the city council meetings?
You think the school board's got a problem. Wait till you hear these tapes.
Hello, Mr. Collins? Yes, I wanted to talk to you about this plan to put a uniformed policeman on our campus. No, I know we have that, but I assure you a blue uniform will make the situation much worse, not better. Well, who do I talk to? Well, no. Now, wait a minute now, Mr. Collins. Now, I spoke to him, and he referred me to you. Now... Uh-huh. Yeah, well, when does Mr. Landry get back from his vacation? Yes. Okay, thank you.
You all right?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
What did the doctor say?
Oh, nothing much. He said I have every ailment that a human being can have and a few that only horses are supposed to get. What you got?
A requisition for gym equipment.
Oh, you're joking. I signed that 3 weeks ago.
Yes, but they lost it downtown. Meanwhile, that form obsolesced and the new one was held up at the printers, and they want us to reapply.
Well, I say if you're going to get turned down, it might as well be on the proper form.
So he said, you can't call me that. And so I said, I can call you anything I want to. And then he said, who said so? And then I said, the First Amendment said so. So he said, I got him there, so he pushes me. So I pushes him back. And just then Mr. Windish comes up. And he didn't see his push, he did. He just seen mine.
That's it?
Yeah.
Jason, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't take it to the Supreme Court. The First Amendment does not grant the right of insult. Now, you go apologize to Stanley Ladislaus and don't let me see you in my office again, yeah?
Yes, sir. And if you do see me, I'll try and make it a social call.
Hold it. Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss the War of 1812 and see what interest it did have. Dismissed.
Oh, Pete.
Oh, hi. You look a little tired.
No sleep. I was up all night hammering out the departmental breakdown on this new budget. Pete, I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell you I'm sorry again about your new textbooks.
Me too. I thought we were supposed to have them 3 weeks ago.
Well, I did too, but Amos Wardlaw, the new member of the school board, is conducting an investigation to make sure that the author of those textbooks is not a subversive.
Just because he spent a month in Russia?
Nobody's going to go on record as being soft on a possible communist during an election year. Hi.
Hi.
So urgent.
Robbie Carver, remember him?
Robbie, it's a kid that got in trouble last year, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was in correctional school.
He was. He's out on probation now. And they've sent him to Van Buren High.
So? They don't usually keep kids in the same school they were in when they got in trouble. You know that.
Well, they sometimes are except... Miss McIntyre. Yes, he is.
Thank you. Hello. Mrs. Wheeler, yes. Oh, no. Thank you, Mrs. Wheeler. School bond was defeated.
Well, we kind of expected it, didn't we?
Well, I don't know. It was close. I thought maybe... You know, there seems to be a popular notion that education is just manufactured out of air and water, and is not supposed to cost any money. I don't know what they expect us to accomplish with a kind of a budget. Okay. What about Robbie Carver?
The boys he got in trouble with last year go to Van Buren. It's the worst possible place for him. He's terribly vulnerable. We got to try to get him back here. We just have to.
Yes, I don't know that we have to. I've got reports to study, recommendations to look at.
Mr. Kaufman, take my recommendation. Make your own report.
Okay, see if you can get him in here tomorrow. I'll talk to him.
What about right now?
Robbie?
Robbie, how are you?
Okay, Mr. Kaufman. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Robbie. I understand you're not too thrilled with Van Buren.
Mr. Kaufman, I know I have no right to be choosy. I know it's up to me what I do with my life and all that stuff. But, like, if I stay at Van Buren, you see, there are these guys.
I told him, Robbie.
You know, Robbie, they're going to be guys any place you go. I mean, I think you just have to learn to choose your friends more carefully.
Oh, it's not that easy, man. Well, like, you know, I'm a big shot over there, being in correctional school. You know, they follow me around. They look up to me.
What makes you think it's going to be any different here at Whitman?
Because, well, I'm not much, Mr. Kaufman. I never was. Maybe in my whole life, there's only been 2 people that ever made me feel like I was somebody. Well, that's Miss McIntyre and you. If I'm gonna make it, I have to be here.
Okay, Robbie. I'll make some phone calls. Hang in, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, Mr. Kaufman.
The superintendent says his hands are tied. Mr. Cowles, I am drowning in channels. A boy's future may be at stake here. Well, something's got to be... all right, good. Who? Oh, yeah, Charlie Fielding. All right, where can I reach him? When will he be back from Washington, Mr. Cowles? Yes.
Mr. Kaufman, my senior play opens in 2 weeks, and I'm really desperate for my muslin.
Muslin?
Yeah, you know, for the angel costumes, 14 yards. Did you forget?
I'll order it today, Miss Johnson.
Good. Hi.
Hi. Oh, speaking of phone calls, that reminds me. I better try Fielding again.
Still no action on Robbie?
14 phone calls, nothing.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman, there must be another way. I mean, there must be. We can't leave that boy in that school.
Miss McIntyre, what would you like me to do? Excuse me, folks, I'm sorry. Miss McIntyre, I'm sorry.
Hi, Mrs. Vogel. Could I talk to you for a minute?
Well, right now, Mrs. Vogel,
Oh, please.
All right, come on. Have a seat, Mrs. Vogel.
It's about Leonard's saxophone lessons. He tells me the man who gives the free lessons is leaving the school.
Yes, unfortunately, due to the failure of the school bond, we won't be able to keep our musical instructor.
Mr. Kaufman, my Leonard is not what you'd call a very intelligent boy. Just between us, you should see what a difference, all of a sudden, when he puts the saxophone in his mouth. It's a whole new boy.
Mrs. Vogel, I can appreciate what the saxophone does for Leonard, but I don't know what to tell you.
Now, I know you only got so much money to work with. Me too. But you're supposed to be giving kids a way to live after they leave here. Well, with Leonard, it's not books. It's the saxophone.
Mrs. Vogel, we can only hope that one of these days soon the taxpayers will vote us the money to hire back our musical instructor. Until then, I'm sorry.
You take time out from work to do for your kid. Nobody cares. Genuine inherited musical talent, and nobody cares.
She's right. Nobody cares.
Oh, come on, Liz. What's wrong now?
I just got a call from Robbie Carver's mother. He was arrested today. A kid from that Van Buren High gang was busted for pot, and Robbie just happened to be in the car with him.
Speak to Mr. Fielding. Tell him it's too late. Robbie Carver. It's too late for Leonard Bogle. Maybe it's not too late for me.
Mr. Kaufman?
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman, we heard, well, I mean...
Is it true that you're splitting?
Splitting? Oh, I seem to be together pretty good.
Hey, Mr. Kaufman, we just want you to know we think you should think about it.
Thank you, Jason. But everybody wants me to think about something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. I'm taking a year's sabbatical. I'm tired. I need a rest. After that, we'll see. This day has been something else. You know, all day long, I've had people telling me, little boy, why don't you just get yourself some sleep and you'll come back fine tomorrow. It's not like that, Pete. I've made a thought-out decision.
I know you have, but that doesn't mean we have to like it. We are affected, you know.
Well, I appreciate that, but I can't change my mind because of it either. I mean, a man gets to the end of his rope, he's either got to jump or hang himself.
What brought it to a head, Robbie Carver?
Well, that triggered it, I guess. But it's not just one thing. That's the trouble. It never is. It's evasion and red tape and going through channels, and then the channels dry up on you.
Like fighting shadows, huh?
That's the trouble. You see, I can fight as well as the next guy. Just give me a solid enemy. But these people that don't say what they mean, or they don't mean what they say, or they don't say anything because it's safer that way. I can't fight those people anymore, Pete. I've had it.
But maybe you're accomplishing more than you think you are. And maybe you're underestimating the value of your services around here.
No, I don't think so.
Do you have any idea how the kids feel about your leaving?
Well, they'll feel bad for a week, and then they'll adjust. Kids always do. That's a great thing about them. You see, Pete, I'm tired. I want out.
Oh, hi, Alice. Oh, no. Is it definite? Yeah. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye. Just got some great news. Guess who Mr. Kaufman's replacement is going to be?
My old buddy Casey?
You should be so lucky. Paul Freebush.
Yeah, well,
I wonder if Mr. Kaufman knows about that yet.
I'm sure he does. Why?
I should think that would have some effect on his plans.
Not in his state of mind.
Oh, I don't believe that, Pete. How can he go knowing he's going to be replaced by a man who tells the papers that any student who refuses to cut his hair should be expelled?
Well, Mr. Kaufman sees an open door after 18 years, and he's not looking back.
Maybe we have to find a way to get his attention.
Like what?
Well, some of the students have been after me to throw a surprise farewell party for Mr. Kaufman.
He won't like it. But it is a good idea.
And maybe we can have a surprise guest. Why don't we invite Paul Freebush?
Pete, you know how I hate amateur theatricals. This historical drama you're dragging me to better be more important than my appointment at the barber shop.
You are a conscientious administrator right up to the end, aren't you? I know it.
We sure gonna miss you around here, Mr.
Right.
Well, why do I feel like I'm on to Queen Mary?
Well, my uncle gave us what he had left over from his flower shop, but we all figured you'd understand the sentiment.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you all very much.
Come on, Helen, now it's your turn.
This is from all of us, Mr. Kaufman. Pam did the artwork.
That's very good, Pam.
Go on, Mr. Kaufman, read it.
Well, we'll all remember Whitman High with memories so dear, the games we've played, the friends we've made, the growing we've done here. But of the people we'll recall, one stands above the rest. Our Mr. Kaufman, strong and tall, we'll always love the best. you.
Oh, pretty.
Thank you all.
Pretty. Nice big piece.
There it is. Ooh, how's that?
Thank you, Miss Johnson.
Okay.
Thank you. Paul, hello. I didn't see you in all this commotion.
Seymour, I feel a bit out of place, to tell you the truth.
Tell you the truth, so do I. Pete, you know I hate surprise parties.
No, I didn't know that.
Mm. Oh, I'm sorry. Paul Freebush, this is Mr. Dixon, Miss McIntyre.
How do you do?
Acquainted with the persuasive Miss McIntyre, since we've spoken on the phone.
Why don't we all sit down here?
I persuaded Mr. Freebush to come today to sort of break the ice with the kids. We've been having a fascinating discussion.
Oh?
Yes, Miss McIntyre has some very liberal ideas.
What on earth were you two discussing?
We were talking about discipline, Mr. Kaufman.
Correction, my dear young lady. We were talking about lack of discipline and what happens when you remove the security of tried and true regulations from young people.
I didn't know we were talking about soldiers, Paul.
Oh, come on, Seymour. You know as well as I do it's the survival of the fittest.
I know that some survive and some don't. Who's to say that it's the fittest that survive?
Seymour, I really believe your decision to take a sabbatical at this time is a wise one.
Well, you do. Why?
You sound as if you can't tell the difference between healthy apples and rotten ones.
Paul, you sound like you can't tell the difference between rotten apples and human beings.
In matters of discipline, there is no difference. In order to save the healthy ones, you get rid of the rotten ones.
Has the thought ever occurred to you that the rotten ones need our attention as well as the others?
The schools have their functions. The jails have theirs.
Well, I guess the only question is, which one are we?
Whoever your future husband is, Miss McIntyre, he's got himself a handful. Well, I have to leave. Nice meeting you both. Seymour, we'll be in touch. Excuse me.
Prison's lost a first-class warden when Paul decided to become a school administrator. I may reconsider. But I may not. In any case, please don't think that you've fooled anyone with this obvious little maneuver. And so, if it'll help, I'm volunteering to come to Sacramento at my own expense to give the Education Committee my views on the importance, on the desperate importance of these additional funds. Yours truly, etc., 3 copies. Okay? Thank you. All right.
Well.
What are you grinning at?
Just heard the word. I don't have to tell you how glad I am to it.
Well, I appreciate it, especially since I still don't have your textbook. You know, Pete, it wasn't just Freebush that decided me, although he helped. I got a letter last night when I got home from my son. I'd written him that I was quitting, and he sent me a letter that he'd received when he was thinking about quitting the Peace Corps. Here, take a look.
I understand you're wanting to quit the Peace Corps. I understand your disgust and frustrations with the red tape and the politics, and your feelings of impotence and uselessness. You say you are of no value, but you are wrong, because when people like you quit, they tend to be replaced by people who don't care and who don't fight. And when nobody's fighting, everybody's losing. Ask the guy who called you a bleeding heart what hope he thinks there is for the world, except in hearts that bleed. With love always. Dad? You wrote this?
That'd be a lesson to you anytime you feel like giving somebody advice. You may have to eat your own words.